Okay, Year 11. So as promised, here's your tutorial video for today. At the moment, I am in the select and mask kind of setup, um, just tidying up the edges of my pizza. So I've gone around, I've actually used this tool here. I found that the easiest, so that one is the brush tool, to get those crisp lines where a lot of you are finding that you are also losing parts of your pizza when you use the other tools. So if you were struggling with that, would strongly recommend just go around the outside with the brush tool instead, but just make sure it's on the minus. One other thing that I told others the other day, I'll just zoom back out, was about these functions here that I want you to all be aware of. If I click to the black and white, notice how the edges are a bit fuzzy. If I then use my contrast bar here, it'll make the lines crisper. Can you see that slight change? I'm thinking I'm going to go for about there. Another thing that you can do if you go to smooth, it kind of like smooths out those lines too. So now if I switch back to this overlay, the edges of my pizza, hopefully if this works, you'll notice that they're a lot smoother and they're a lot crisper, which is exactly what I'm after. Okay, so I'm going to press OK. And it's time to move on to the next part. So at the moment I have my pizza, I have my tablecloth behind, and over here this is what my layers panel is, remembering that your layers are probably going to be about here. Right? So what the next step is to begin to add toppings. Okay, but I don't want you to just choose any basic old toppings. I want you to be choosing things that are a bit strange, things that are a bit challenging to cut out. For example, this fruit shape here. I would like all of you to give this tutorial a go. So you have this photograph. We're going to cut out this leaf and we're going to cut out just this one part of the fruit here. Props for anyone that knows what this fruit is, or how to pronounce it, I should say. So I'm going to click and drag this fruit over to my pizza. It's too big. We dealt with that yesterday. So I'm going to go Control T on the computer and I am making it smaller, resizing the image. I'm happy with about there. And then I'm going to click off and I'm zooming in just a little bit so that then I can see my fruit a little bit easier. Next step, quick selection tool again. Select that one. Remember, if you can't find the quick selection, it's going to be hidden under the object selection tool instead. Okay, so quick selection. I'm thinking my brush size is too big currently, so I'm going to go up here and I'm going to make it a little bit smaller to about 10. Perfect. Okay, see, I can have already selected part of the leaf, which is great. Now I'm going to go around and I'm going to see if I can select the other stuff. Because this fruit is a little bit more challenging, it doesn't matter so much if you quite don't get the right shape to begin with. That's why we go into that select and mask. I need to work out what that's called. Oh, I'm going to undo. I did too much. I'll fix that later. The select and mask panel, let's call it that. We can go to the select and mask panel later and fix things up. For now though, just see if you can get it as close as possible. We don't really want to be getting these fruit pieces from behind. Okay, see if you can get rid of as many of these fluffy outside pieces as possible as well. Get rid of that one. Fantastic. Okay, I'm happy with that. Next step again is then we don't yet have a layer mask. So before we can go to the select and mask, we need to create a layer mask first. So down here, clicking there, then you can see it's kind of masked around it, but then you can see some other spots. This is where we need to tidy it up. So right click, selected mask, and here we go with our different tools. Now, explanation on these different tools really quickly. Brush tool, you're going to get either you're going to get a really crisp line and it's going to take out whatever your mouse hovers over. So if you have a shaky hand, brush tool isn't for you. The refine edge brush tool, that's what we're going to use for these sections in here. I'll actually show you what I mean by that right now, if my mouse works properly. There we go. Okay, so refine brush tool. I always get confused between these two, so play between them. I probably need a smaller brush tool as well, but I'm trying to get those in between bits. If you're finding it's not successful, change to the minus instead. Another option for those that are a bit more switched on, maybe, I think it's Control Alt, no. There's some keyboard shortcut that you can use that I can't remember right now that makes this changing between pluses and minuses thing amazing. If you can work it out, can you let me know? That would be fantastic because I don't remember at the moment. Okay, so I am trying to minus parts. If you find that's not successful, switch back to your other tools. See, that's taking too much out. Again, if it's your brush size is too big, go nice and small, zoom in, go around the outside of the objects. This is where things become a little bit more challenging than just a plain circle for a pizza base, okay? The other thing that I really wanted to talk to you guys about, and I did kind of discuss it with the pizza base, is that we're looking for precision when you're creating these masks. So I don't want to see any background. I don't want to see any bits that are lost, all right? You have to take your time with this. I don't want to see any hair off of the faces that you're using taken off. I don't want to see any cheeks cut off or any ears. Absolute precision, okay? Okay, so like I said, precision. So what I've done isn't perfect, as you can see. I haven't spent as much time on this masking layer as I'm hoping you will. As you can see, there are spots still in here that aren't perfect, okay? But if you are doing it, you will have enough time so that then it looks incredible. Now, once we have created the mask layer, normally when you have a pizza, you have the same topping and you have it repeated multiple times. So here's another, oh, look at that. I trialed it and I've already got one. So yeah, multiple toppings repeated. To do that, we're going to copy and paste. However, if you right click on the image, you'll see that there's not a copy section here. This is where you need your shortcuts available to you. So this is another good one to write down in your book. Control C on the keyboard. So Control C after you've clicked on the object will copy it. Then if you click off and go Control V, so I'll repeat that again, Control and V for Victor, then it will paste the object. You can then press Control T to get the outsides of that object, and you could make it smaller so that then your toppings maybe vary in size. All right. Another option that I can go with, if I paste again, why isn't it working? I paste again. If I go Control T, you've got the outsides. Notice how if I go slightly outside the outside edge, it gives me like this kind of curved arrow with two sides. I can rotate my object to whatever way I like so that then all of my leaves and all of my fruits are facing different ways. So there's lots of different options here, and this is what I want you guys to be playing with. I don't want to see the same object just repeated lots and lots of times on the page. That's boring, okay? Make your pizza interesting, and obviously make it funny too. All right, so somewhere on your pizza you must have, and I'll write this down, but you must have one of these little fruity objects on there somewhere, all right? And it can't be totally covered up by one of your other objects, all right? That proves to me that you guys were able to do the fiddly stuff and mask around all of these fiddly little hair parts, okay? Now, lastly, there's one more thing that I need to tell you before I let you go off and do your own thing for a couple of lessons. That is that Google Images is not a quality enough source to get your images from. Okay, the images are not generally high enough resolution. Instead, what I want you to do is go to this place called DuckDuckGo. There we go. Okay, so it'll come up like this. Click on that website there. This is a web engine that when you go to Google Images, it gives you awesome high resolution images rather than the low resolution images that I said is on Google Images. So for example, if I type in pizza, comes up with this here. This is the web. We want to change to images. And then, yes, I have poor internet, but it slowly down or shows all of these images. Now, when you hover over it, you've got some numbers. We want at least one of these numbers to be in the 1000. So we want it to have at least 4 digits. All right, 4 digits per number is fantastic. That's telling you the dimensions of this picture. All right, the more numbers means the higher resolution. Okay, so all of these images that I've hovered on so far, but this one right here is okay. So this one would be fine to use. This one here not, because they're both in the hundreds, so both 3 digits. There's no 4-digit number. That means no good. Okay, here on here it'll look fine. It looks great. But when we start zooming in and when we start editing the image on Photoshop, not so great. This image though, notice how it's got all numbers in the thousands. Fantastic. That's exactly what we want. I know that I'm being really repetitive with explaining this, but I can't stress this enough. In IPP, we must use good quality images, not bad ones. All right, I'm going to let you go. If you are confused about what you're meant to be doing, can you please go to the PowerPoint that is going to be uploaded on Daymap? On that PowerPoint, once you download it, it'll give you your exact instructions upon what you need to be doing and what you need to do to finish your pizza, essentially. Okay, cool. I hope you got through this tutorial. Well done.